Okay, so now we have very, very charismatic friend from Belgium, Artur. So instead of introduction, he will have some surprise for you.
Or maybe at the end.
Or maybe at the end. Okay, we didn't align it. Anyway, first of all, in the beginning of each presentation, I would ask you to scan the QR code so that you could evaluate each of our speakers. So now I'm giving microphone to Artur.
Thank you so much. Yep, you can. Thank you. Labas, mano vardas Arturas, aš iš Brazilijos. Aš gyvenu Belgijoje ir aš nekalbu lietuviškai. Okay, now this is to break the ice, but I need to cool down my heartbeat now. Whew, don't expect any more Lithuanian from me. Ačiū, that's it. And it's Veiki that I never know how to pronounce. It's Veiki, it's Veiki, it's Z. All right. How's everyone doing? Was it enough time for coffee, toilet, break, replying emails? The meeting that you couldn't be there? It's beautiful. All right, so this is something for later. Don't worry about that for now. I just would like to go a little bit deeper in sweet spot. What is this definition? I don't have any really technical definition of that, but sweet spot is anything that it might be a bit like a dichotomy. You have two extremes, and the sweet spot is something that works for you that is in the middle. Maybe not in one extreme, maybe not on the other one. So for instance, I do a lot of car trips with my friends. Some of my friends, they love rock and roll. Some of my friends, they love more pop music. So let's say that if here we have in two extremes, oopa, there is a delay here, but I'm going to get used to that. What extreme rock and roll all the time? Then you can go for Scorpions, Metallica, and say what one rock and roll band that you like. Say that? Linkin Park. AC/DC. Whitesnake. Volbeat, of course, everyone knows Volbeat. It's a famous one. You see that all the rock and roll people was kind of sitting together here? All right, what about some pop? Just shout, some pop music. Britney. What else? It's okay, it's just if you know, huh? If you say that, doesn't mean that you have all the songs in your mobile playing pop, so. ABBA. I'm not going to be singing anymore. That's the last time. Any other pop? Justin Bieber, Justin Timberlake. Yeah, some people got even chilled. All right, let's not go much deeper on this one. Anyway, you see that's a little bit divided, and it's the same in a car. I think if it's we are going from Brussels and we are going down until, like, I don't know, Lisbon, it's a lot of hours driving. And if it's just rock and roll all the time, people might not be happy on the other side. And if it's just pop or Justin Bieber, as I saw someone even shivering, people might not be that happy as well. So you need to find some sweet spot there, right? Maybe we play 1 hour of this one, maybe we mix a little bit there. Of course, it's just not two ways, right? We have many other styles. You have classical, you have the Brazilian samba, and you have any other type of music that you can play. But I'm just putting this dichotomy for the moment, because that's how maybe the manifesto is kind of put there, right? You have the values that is like this over that. So we take this for the moment. Otherwise, maybe on the next talk, I'm going to put a chart that is like, I don't know, maybe 2 axes, and then we have all the ways that we can go for music and for values. But for now, I'm going to do this dichotomy for the moment, just for the sake of that's how it's presented in the manifesto. So, taking one step back, different colors, but I think that's just some assumptions before going waterfall, because I think that we always take for granted that Agile is the only way. So now, from now until the end of this talk, I'm going to defend why waterfall works. Just joking. But let's take a step back. Why not waterfall? So for going waterfall, I would say that you need to answer yes for 3 assumptions, for 3 questions. The first one, the client knows exactly what he or she wants. Yes to that, go to the next one. We know exactly how to build it. Yes, go to the next one. Nothing is going to change. If it's yes for those three, you are in a very predictable environment. Just go for it. Don't have much to inspect and adapt. It's some environment that is like, we know what's going to happen. But in case you answer no to one of those, maybe you need to consider a more incremental inspect and adapt approach. By the way, I did this drawing long ago. You see that I used paint. It's ugly. But yeah, like for instance, this guy here, I drew like 4 years ago, and it happened. So yeah, things changed a lot in these last 3 years. So if you answer yes for that, yes for all of those things, go for it. You're in a very predictable environment. If not, you might consider Agile. Now, I have some invitation for you, that you maybe grab some paper, some pen. You can do that on your mobile. You can do that on your laptop. It's just an activity that we're going to do together. It's a light assessment, as I would like to call it. And you're just going to simply create 8 axes like this one. So imagine that you have 8 axes like this. And you are going to use them throughout this conversation. So if you can do that, maybe drawing on your mobile, or you can do that on a Post-it, or you have a laptop, or you have a notebook. So I give you some seconds to do that. It's an invitation. If you don't feel like it's okay, and if you do, maybe it's going to be nice for you. Artur, I didn't understand the assignment like this. Maybe it's a bit visual. Yes? So let's get into it. I know you're tired maybe of listening to Agile Manifesto and the values, and probably you saw that so many times, but I'd like to go over them again. This conversation, the slides are all done by drawings I've done, even before I met Agile Comic. If you know, who knows Agile Comic? Yeah, the guys are exploding. So I did this drawing before I met them. Maybe they can hire me at some point, or maybe not. So, yeah, that's it. That is just a screenshot that was created long ago, so it's not something that started last year. But I just want to show how they put it a little bit more in this dichotomy, right? You see like one value here and the other on the other side. Then we value more the ones on the left side, and the other ones also have value, but we definitely value these ones more. So let's just dive a little bit deeper into them. First one, individuals and interactions, process and tools. If you are really, I'm extrapolating and exaggerating here, let's be clear. If you are really onto one side that is just individuals and interactions, without process and tools, and then you have like, do we have a backlog? Nope. Do we have impediments? What do we mean? What about the integration? What about automation? Can we check the client email, the certificates? We just use pigeons here. I don't know what you're talking about. So very extreme. Exaggerated, we have no tools, but we are interacting like crazy. That's very cool. In the other extreme, we have the tools using us, not the other way around, right? And then, hey Artur, I have a question. Just raise a ticket, and by the end of the conference, I'm going to answer you. It's all heavy process and a lot of tools on just one side and less interaction. So the way to read this value, process and tools are available as long as they are not preventing us to interact. Make sense? Otherwise, you wouldn't see this visual. Otherwise, I wouldn't use this microphone. So they help as long as they don't prevent us to interact. Now, what I invite you to do is to make a circle on this axis, the first axis, the first one. Make a circle where your team, your department, or your company is. You are going to choose team, department, or company through the end, the whole talk, okay? So pick up one. What do you want to assess? And then we are going to go through all the 8 axes. make a circle where you think your team, department, or company is right now. Choose one. Is it clear enough what we're doing here? Yeah? So you're going to probably make a circle somewhere here. Now make an X where you think it should be. What is the ideal? So first you make a circle where you think it is, maybe too much to one side, maybe in the middle, maybe too much on the other side. And now you make an X where you think it's the ideal. It's a very heavy assessment, backed up for a lot of research, very accurate. All right, let's just move forward. The next value we have here, working solution, scrap software. I'm working outside IT for the last 5 years. I worked in payroll, I worked in recruitment, procurement, portfolio. Yeah, I don't know anymore what is IT, so you scrap it and put solution. And on the other side, comprehensive documentation. One side, we just go for a lot of collaboration. Sorry, there is a little delay. Yes, we go. Yeah, we need to build another one. Where's the documentation? No idea what you're talking about. I mean, it's a working solution, right? Now, we need to replicate, or there is a handover. We don't know where is it. And on the other side, I mean, documentation, important maybe, but does it really bring the value and fix the problems of the users? Maybe not. So those are the two extremes. Once again, we value more working solution. Comprehensive documentation is important. Agile just asks you, why the heck are you building this documentation? Why the heck are you investing so much effort in having a documentation of 10, 100 pages, or 20 pages? And if the answer is like, because that's how we do things here, that's an answer to be checked deeper. Might not be the best answer. So now again, make an X where you believe, make a circle where you believe is your team, department, or company. Remember, it's the same one that you pick up first, huh? I don't want you to pick up always a different one. I pick up the team on the first one, and then the department on the other one is always the same one. So make a circle where it is right now, and make an X where you think it should be. Got it? All right. I'm going to be closer. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Yeah, we are collaborating, walking hands with the client. We don't need a contract. Let's go. I mean, I'm sure that you're going to pay me 5 million at the end of this project. That's all good. Let's go happily. And in the other extreme, you just have like, yeah, that's it. That's the pile of documents that you signed a year ago, and you signed with blood, by the way. There is no changing. And that can go both ways. That can go the client telling the provider, and the provider telling the customer as well, right? There is, in both ways, no flexibility at all. Once again, we want to collaborate. We know that the contracts are needed. Every time I talk about this one, someone from procurement has a heart attack. Like 5 seconds of like, Artur, I'm sorry, let me recover. Contracts are needed. It's just how much are you just blocking any adaptability throughout the development, right? So we do want to collaborate. We do want to make sure that the customer is not just waiting at the end to say, hey, did you deliver what I wanted, but actually going together in the journey and adapting. Now, once again, make a circle where you think it is your team, department, or company right now, and make an X where you think would be the ideal. Now, responding to change over following a plan. Yes, I use the cliche of the sails. You can respond to change. If the wind is changing, you adjust your sails. Or you can just be like very upset because it's not really following what you wanted. There is the cliche that says like the optimist expects it to change. The pessimist just complains about the wind not changing, and the realist just adjusts the sails. I know, cliche, but that's what you want to do. You want to use whatever changes that happen in our advantage, right? Instead of just following. Plans are important. Plan your work, but work your plan. What I'm going to ask you next? What is it should be done now? Make a circle where you think it is, and then you make an X where you think is the ideal. Hopefully you are doing that on the 4th X, not anywhere else. All right, just quick exercise with you. You are about to go to lunch, maybe you're sleepy, maybe you didn't have coffee enough. I didn't have it myself. So just I invite you to cross your arms. If you don't want to do, that's fine. If everyone does, that's pretty cool. You are gonna learn by doing. Just cross your arms, it's that easy. Now cross your arms the other way around. How did you feel on the second time? Very good? What else? Is everyone very good on the second time? No? Weird? Just shout. How did you feel on the second time? Wanna go back? Okay. So you have some guys and girls that's like, no problem, I just do that and it's fine. Some others are like, I prefer the first one, I felt more comfortable. That is a very silly exercise, but shows how is it to change something that you're doing for so long. You are crossing your arms the same way for years, since you know yourself as a human, maybe when you were 5 years old or 10, some people maybe later, 20. But you are just doing the same way. And then some guy here with a microphone asks you to cross the other way around without any explanation and say, just do that, and you're like, it's uncomfortable. Imagine ways of working. Imagine if you are in a company for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, more than that, and someone says, hey, let's now change the way you are working. If that crossing the arms is already uncomfortable, imagine day-to-day work. We better have very good explanation why, what problems are we trying to solve? What are the goals that we want to achieve? Agile should be really a means to an end, not a destination. And I've seen many transformations failing because Agile became the destination. Simply by 2025, we want to be Agile company that is going to be comparable to Google or whatever. And I've seen messages being given where the leaders are just like looking down and saying, yeah, Agile, we go there. And what is Agile again? What is on the, you know, the teleprompt? What is Agile is cool. And yeah, that's what we want to do because, I mean, it should be very clear the reasons why. What problems are we solving with this? So that's just a quick exercise I do. It's just a little bit of empathy. Also, I do that with my colleagues because as change agents, it's very easy for us to say, hey, just cross your arms the other way around. It's going to be cool for you. We better have very good reasons for that and make sure people are onboarded. For some people, are very easy. Some people are like, good, let's go. This Agile thing is cool. For some others, it's like, maybe we need more time. And some people will never like that. That's also important. So, just other aspect, now we're going to go for the other half of the axis. Just some things that I've seen happening. By experience, one side we have the coach just asking questions and rubbing the chin, but what have you done? What is the worst that could happen? What do you think? And teams is just like, man, just give us an indication here. I mean, you have experience or not, right? We need some solution, and the person is like, but what could you do in this case? And what is the worst that... It depends. It's the consulting answer always, no? But we go A or B, it depends. So yeah, and you have the solution, so I think that's one extreme, and I'm not mocking that in a way that you should never do that. I think coaching is a powerful tool, but if you just keep on that extreme and people actually need some direction, that might be a little bit painful. And you have the solution there, right? The other extreme, that's it. Cross your arms, cross your arms. That's it, it's here. I read there in the theory, just cross your arms on the other way around. That's how we're going to do that and why we're going to do that, so that's it. Maybe it's another approach that is also very directive, less about empathy, less about telling about the why. So yeah, you can reach the goals, but whatever it takes, I'm not quite sure about that approach as well. So now, just make a circle where you think your team, department, or company is, and make an X where you think it's the ideal. Now, let's talk about some tips about that, right? Some potential tips that I can recommend, at least worked for me, might not work for you, but it's something I could share. Just a line about the do's and don'ts. I think the approach, the way you communicate, the way you interact with your client or the way you interact with your teams, I think it's important to have a kind of a working agreement. So what are the do's and don'ts? I do that with my client, the one that is paying for me to be there. I do that with the team. Okay, what are the things that you'd like to do? What are the things that I can do? What do you expect from me on a soft skills side? What do you expect from me on the hard skills? And what is a big no-go? Like, tell me what is that it really hurts you. Artur, but I don't even know you. I don't know what you can do. Just tell me what happened in the past that you really hated and you don't want me to repeat again. So have some agreements with them. That helps already to align. So maybe they tell you right away, I don't want you to be rubbing your chin and asking open questions all the time. All right, good to know. Or I don't want you to be so directive on that sense. So create this agreement. Make sure that you interact. Just retrospect about this relationship. Check again after some time because you're going to learn things very soon. After 1 month, for sure, you have a lot of information that you maybe can change. And understand that sometimes it's not just a match. Your style of leadership or your style of Scrum Mastering or Agile Coach is not a match to that team. You can adjust a lot to them, but they need someone that is a little bit different than you. And you have to understand that. I know that we don't want to give up on the first week, but how long are we going to continue that is not really matching? So that is something to think. Maybe they need someone that is more directive. Maybe they need someone that is more empathic with the team. I hope everyone's empathic all the time. But yeah, maybe it's not a match sometimes. So can you feel the weather is heavier now in the room, no? It's like, oh my God, but maybe John is not a match for our team. How much info needed before committing to it? Just about definition of ready. In one extreme, we have a title. Hey, I'm the product owner, just go for it, implement the new customer signature. What? What is that? And the other extreme, you need the title, description, acceptance criteria, dependencies, risk, non-scope test scenarios, high-fidelity mock-up, diagram of activities, estimation in hours, man days, story points, whatever you can do, functional analysis, technical analysis, happy flow, not that happy flow, signature from 8 different people and a hug. Because after that, you're going to need a hug. So that's another extreme, might not be the best to be as well. So once again, find the sweet spot. By the way, I forgot about the last one, so let's just roll back. Do's and don'ts. Okay, now you make a circle. Where is your company or your team or your department? And make an X where it is. Did I ask? I don't remember if I asked it or not. I asked, so I'm going to replay. The coffee is kicking in. Okay, so brain fog. All right, now for this one, make a circle. Where is it right now? And an X where you think is the ideal. So about that, some things that you can consider. First, very clear understanding that definition, how you can use the definition of ready, what is it? So make sure that is clarified with the team. Definition of ready, everything that the team needs before committing to that work or putting inside the sprint. So if you maybe need a description, you need an estimation, you need the risks, what are the things that is needed? Just make it clear about the why. Right? If it's documentations or things that you need, make very clear the why, who is going to consume that, what it looks like, so align that with them. Make sure that it's actually visible for everyone. It's not you and John and Mary that agrees to that, and everyone else, you assume that they know what is the definition of ready, but make it visible. Make sure that everyone sees the same thing. By the way, just a quick exercise here. I'm going to say one word, and you say the first image that comes to your mind, okay? Apple, what comes to your mind? Machine, red. Pi. 3, C. iPhone. Okay, circle. Somebody's going to say Newton, no? All right, just another word, energy. What comes to your mind? Green. Battery. Glow, flow, electricity, lightning, Tesla. Okay, just maybe the last one, life. What comes to your mind? You can say louder. I have maybe some hearing problems. Family. Magazine. Passion. Tree again? Tree comes all the time. Is the apple tree? Is the life tree? Is the energy tree? What is that? Another one? Freedom. Someone's going to say baby. So we can do this exercise. I can order pizzas, and we can stay here until 10 in the night. Most likely, the words are going to be different. So whatever documentation you have, people will interpret that in different ways. So all the PowerPoints you have, all the emails you have, back and forth, people will interpret that in different ways. So make sure that it's very clear that you have some face-to-face conversation, and when you say the word apple, it's an apple that is red, it's bitten on the side, and the leaf going up. And there is a drawing of that, so make sure that you align with the team as well, this definition of ready, and all the things that you need to know before picking up. And just make sure that you inspect and adapt with this definition of ready, because it's not carved in stone. It's not something that you're going to do once, and it's never going to change. You're going to learn as you go, and the more you learn, more you're going to change that, or maybe you're going to reduce that, because you don't need all those things. You are getting so high performant, and you know each other, and you know how to get things done, that you need less and less information before committing to work. All right, just a second before the last. Escalating problems / impediments. I mean, it's all good, no problem. And the steering committee sessions is all green or sunny. No, it's okay, so no problem. On the other side, the spider was huge, sir. Please help us. So find a sweet spot between just not escalating at all and between escalating every single thing. Now, once again, make a circle. Where is your team, department, or company right now? And make an X where you think is ideal. All right, just some things about that. I think the first thing to align, what is the difference between problems and impediments? Problems, the team can solve it themselves. They can do that. Impediment, they are really blocked. They cannot move forward. So they need external help for that, right? So make this differentiation, what is actually a problem and what is a true blocker, a true impediment. Visualize it. I think we have too many like emails back and forth with CC, with the CC, of the CC, with the CC, and then you are CC'd on things that were already CC'd of 3 weeks ago, and you have to read all those things. So make sure that you have a prioritized backlog of impediments. Visualize it somewhere, that you know what is being in progress, you know what you tackled already, and you know what is the next priority, because we can solve all the impediments at the same time. By the way, remember that those are all tips. You do it if it makes sense. It's just some things that are implemented and helped. So make sure that you have recurring sessions for that. Another problem I've seen happening again and again is that we don't have time for that. It's just ad hoc. Things are burning, and then let's try to find meetings, and then I don't know about you, but every agenda I've seen is a mosaic. It's crazy, it's overlapping, and when you need to find this time in people's agenda, it's always a pain. Make sure that you have it recurring. Some time that you sit together with people that can unblock the road. And just avoid being the super Scrum Master hero, or the super coach, or the super leader, the super boss that's like fixing everything alone. Nobody knows how you fix that. You come afterwards and it's just the light on you. It's like slow motion, wind on the hair. And how did you fix that? One day I'm going to tell you. You're just becoming a bottleneck, right? It's just like, how the heck it was fixed, and then if it happens again, nobody knows how to fix that. So make sure that you bring someone to fix it with you, or you really share very clearly how it was fixed. Now, the last one, humor and informality. One side, you just have people like, no small talk, let's just start a meeting. So the purpose of today's agenda is, well, but Mary just had a daughter. I mean, it's crazy. Look at the baby. It said, I don't care. We are here to talk about the finances that went down the last time we had. Woo. And the other side is, woo. you, and then the small talk is not small talk. It's 1 hour meeting, and the meeting is like 40 minutes of just like, oh, but are we gonna go for a drink? Have you seen the Red Hot Chili Peppers concert? I mean, 2 extremes. Maybe it's not the whole time there, maybe not the whole time here. And just make sure that you, now on the last one, you make a circle where you think it is right now, your team, department, or company. And you make an X where you think it to be the ideal. You're probably thinking of all the bosses or the colleagues that are like, yeah, it's never a small talk with that person. Or you are that person yourself. Or there is always the clown. All right, so just about that, few tips, keep in mind. Understand your colleagues. There is a little broken thing on the text, the one I sent to her. My bad, I should have checked up front. So understand your colleagues first. Not everyone has the same approach or the same level of fun or the same level of let's get serious. So just make sure that you know those people, understand them a little bit better. Yeah, there you go, broken slide. Start small. Whatever you want to try, if you think that is too serious, try not with an energizer that takes, I don't know, 30 minutes of the call. Yeah, I think we're too serious in this calls, right? So everyone stand up, hug your colleagues, and now, yes, now I have balls, just throw the balls everywhere. I mean, people are introverts, people don't like those things, so whatever you try small, and ask people for permission or invitation. If they don't want to participate, it's fine, right? So don't force people into activities. But I want to make sure that you put a circle and an X on each. Just ask around, huh? Whatever you talk to them, whatever you tried, just see, how did you feel with that check-in that you tried? How did it work for you, that checkout or that icebreaker that you've done? Just ask around. I mean, don't assume that everyone is enjoying or that everyone is hating. And awareness. By having humor, you get more stuff done. Because if I would be talking all the time like this during this whole talk and I wouldn't be thinking that I can crack some joke here and there, maybe you'll be thinking like, maybe I could check my mobile and that's cool, but maybe not. But I like to crack some jokes, even though it's just funny for me. But you get some beep on the flat line. Whenever meeting you are, that there is a joke, there is whatever slide that is funny, there is a beep. It's like, oh, what is that? That was out of the curve? Or, okay, let me get up focus. So just some awareness, and there is a bunch of study on that I'm going to share afterwards. Now, you probably have something like this. Yes? Some of them are the sweet spot. You already found it. It's like where it is today, and for you, what is the ideal? It's on the spot. Some others are quite far from each other, and it's like, you know? Now, is it similar? Something like that? Someone got all the sweet spot all the time, like, yeah. No? I would just want to hear from you now. Is the time for me to drink some water? What have you found there? What are the things that you detected by just doing this exercise? So depending on the team, you have different, even though they are together, even though it's the same company, I like that, thanks a lot. So depending on the team, they have different, you assess them differently, right? Okay, makes sense. What else have you detected there while doing that? Oh yeah, thanks, Inga.
So responding to change over following a plan might be interesting because sometimes people say, or I see that the company is responding to change, but some things they keep consistent, but they're following some plan I do not exactly know. So then it's like, how much are they following a plan if that is not really necessarily a plan that's visible or it's still a little bit inconsistent, but it might be that the answer is like the third direction is not really on that scale somehow.
Então você colocou X e círculo quando você viu, porque ele because he speaks Portuguese, so I'm just happy to see you again. So that's what I said at the beginning, right? That instead of being like this dichotomy, could be like that, because it's not black and white. It's not because you are doing more of this that you don't have more than the other, right? So maybe sometimes you're following a lot of plan, but you are also adjusting a lot to the plan, or is it what you're saying?
A little bit. I mean, just the thing on the right was like following a plan, but I see they're following something. I'm just not sure if it's really a plan.
Ah, okay.
But I guess then they're following their plan. It just looks to me like they're sticking to something. So.
Okay, so that was your assessment that they are following something. You just don't know if it's the plan or
yeah,
something.
And
I'm trying to understand. Maybe my coffee didn't.
I didn't understand those people correctly. And then it's like, okay, how am I going to assess if they're following a plan or if they are just following their guts or actually responding to change or whatever?
Yeah. So how can you actually know that? How can you kill this assumption?
Yeah, that was the question that I had.
What have you done? What is the worst that could happen?
In that case, following my own gut, I guess.
But there is something that maybe you can bring it to them, or there is a way to visualize that, how much we are following too much the plan, or how much are we adjusting?
I mean, it's a good starting point for me to dig into that. I mean, obviously, you have to talk about them with them then. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Good starting point.
Obrigado, man. Thank you. Any other thing that you just saw like,
Yeah, so this is probably not for this session, but for the future that when I bring this to the team. So where does the manager see this, where he expects is, and where we are right now, where the team wants to be, and obviously where the Scrum Master thinks we are, and where do we want to go?
Yeah, so I think it's one of the biggest points, because you all did this light assessment based on your hat, your glasses, and your perspectives. So how can you actually align? Who is on the same team here? Who works together? Did you assess the same thing? It was different. Some of the things were quite similar. So that's one of the biggest things, right? Even though you're working on the same team, maybe it's the same department, you are going to assess in different ways. So how can you actually align that? What are the things that you feel that is ideal, and why it's ideal, and what can you reach that? So it's one of the points to align with your colleagues instead of just having your own assessment, very heavy assessment, very bureaucratic assessment. But yeah, how can you visualize it with your colleagues? Now, I think, just to close here, the most important, I think, as you said, I think you said that even though the teams are together, you assess them differently. Maybe it's the same team, but 1 week later or 2 weeks later, it's going to be different, because they need a different approach. They need maybe more directive, or they need a little bit more a coaching session, or maybe they need a little bit more informality or humor, whatever is that you just keep finding the sweet spot, because it's not fixed, it's not the same always, and varies from person to person, varies from team to team, and you make sure that you align that. Maybe you can bring it to your retrospective. Maybe you can just visualize it and do it with leadership, but you know at least what people are thinking and what you can do about that, because it's all about finding the sweet spot, what works for you in your context for that specific moment. It's not just about listening to rock and roll all the time or just pop, but you know what is really needed for your specific context. No copy-paste, no, Jürgen, no copy-paste. So make sure that it's whatever works for you in that specific context, finding the sweet spot and visualize it instead of just assumptions and thoughts. So I'm gonna now shut up.
You're surprised, don't forget.
But but we still have maybe some questions or some time?
Yeah. So do we have anybody brave enough to ask a question? Something challenging?
Something not challenging?
Funny?
Anything that you'd like to try, anything that you want to ask?
Ooh, be ready.
So where's the biggest difference in distance between a circle and a square when you did the exercise for yourself?
The circle and the X, you mean?
The circle and the X.
When I did it for myself?
Yeah, where did you have the most distance?
I have to remember. I think the contract. I think the contract was the toughest one, and when I do that with teams, it's normally the one that is the hardest to get aligned. Because we talk about some contracts of 500,000, sometimes about 10 million, and then it's still something new. Even I think it's a whole new session about agile contracts, is how much we can be flexible on the contract, that we still get both parties happy, but we can be adjusting throughout the development. Otherwise, it's just like, we sign this thing here, and after 1 year, I wait you on the finish line. Just come. And then when you come, it's like, eh. So that was one of the hardest to get flexible. Does it answer your question?
Do you have more?
Maybe I throw the question back to you. What are the ones that you felt that was the hardest, or is the hardest to get the sweet spot? That is the X and the circle is the furthest. Yep.
For me, it was about it's all fine, and it's a spider when all the police was coming. I don't remember how that thing was called.
The impediments and the blocks, the problems.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one. Move forward. Yeah, this one escalating because in my experience, we have this kind of wall monitoring about everything is on fire. We have spikes and everything, and for now we just take it as joke. Oh, it's casual, it's normal. But then again, no one is really looking and digging into the problems, and this one is not escalating when it's probably an actual issue, and just nobody's looking into that.
So it's more on to decide.
Yeah, and wants to be on the right more, and I don't know how to say, teach our colleagues to dig into more of this and escalate this, so everyone would be responsible for it and actually confirm if it's an issue or not.
Normally the pain has to be visible, right? Normally sometimes the pain is just for you
but
or
we
your
have
colleague.
a monitor where we see this, but it's a problem actually that just no
So it's very technical, like the problems about
yeah.
incidents or bugs.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. So I know that we are in a break. I don't want to make anyone hostage here. If you have to go, if you want to go. But for me, it's whatever. First, define what is bug, because we're talking about bugs and incidents, right?
Yeah, spikes.
I just had a conversation yesterday with a colleague. First, define what is bug and what is not. Because if it's in the middle of the development, that's not a bug, that's development. We can never get something done the first time right. If you do that, please check again your code. I develop everything is working fine the first time. What? So that's the first one. And when you detect the bug, is it after QA, is it during QA, or is it visual to the end user? So if it's visual to the end user, for sure, it has to be prioritized and go in the backlog. It shouldn't be a separated thing or stuff that we might do at some point. Technical debt is serious, and we should treat that as such, by priority, visualizing, and then we have to come up with the cases as well. It's not just because it's kind of bad, you know, the customer does that, and I feel bad as a developer. No. He's blocked for, I don't know, 2 hours because of that, or we are getting data wrong because of this, and you have to really have this conversation with the PO and align the expectations, because that has to come on the backlog. It's not a side backlog that will never be checked. Make sense?
Yeah. So it's more of a QA responsibility to raise this.
I wouldn't even separate that. I see that QAs are always far away or a safety net. And as developers, we know that someone is going to filter that, and then the quality of the code goes lower because we know someone is at the end. I would just bring them together, know what is being developed from the beginning, and not leave this responsibility for the QA. I think it's just our own stuff and it's our code, so you build, you run it, should be responsible also for that and to create the case on that. And I'm being very directive here now, no? But it makes sense. Yeah? I think it's time for a break. Your break is very short and you're probably like thinking...
Where's the surprise?
There's no surprise. So first, thank you very much. You can definitely be prepared for the next one. I'm just gonna make some background noise and make your ears bleed while you are leaving the room. That is something I wanted to try when you were welcome, when you were entering. But I thought that we were delayed. I really thought that we were 15 minutes delayed. I was talking to Jurgen and so, yeah, what about the weather tomorrow? What about the unfix? And then Inga or someone else came to me, is like, your talk is now. I'm like, oh shit. And it's the first one after 3 years, so I'm kind of rusty. And yeah, the timing was really something. But I would like first that you start like going, you know, like going and leaving, because now it feels like I'm leaving you here for that, so I don't want to do that. But thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference, and you are going to see each other over a coffee or over a beer. And let's connect on LinkedIn, and see you.
Thank you.
You can go.
Don't forget the Menti, of course.